I'll be honest with you guys, alright? The only reason why we like and sell the Prestige is because it's basically a more expensive version of the Monarch MK3. Let's just break it down simply, alright? The Monarch MK3 comes in with 2 DDs, 6 BAs, and 2 ESTs. The Prestige, on the other hand, comes in with 1 DD, 4 BAs, and 4 ESTs. But as we all know, the EST drivers are extremely expensive, and therefore the Prestige comes in with a more prestigious price point for what's effectively kind of a very similar tuning. But that is something we'll discuss more on later on in the video. So for those of you who want to know more, well, watch on. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Hangout.audio channel, and yes, today we'll be talking about the Prestige, kind of an odd entry into the Theo Audio cinematic universe. It was launched in between the Monarch as well as the then flagship, the V16 Divinity, which we have made a showcase on, so watch there. And yes, it was a tribrid with 4 ESTs, but at the same time, the fact that it was a tribrid was already kind of enough to sway a lot of people, so I'm not sure exactly why they wanted to add on just 2 more ESTs. But regardless, let's first get into the non-audio stuff. First of all, talking about what basically every other Theo Audio product has. You're gonna get your canvas hard case, your tibs, and that's kind of it. Again, when it comes to Theo Audio, you've seen one, you've seen them all. And also, as with many higher end Theo Audio products, you're gonna get interchangeable connectors with your cables, 4.4 balance, 3.5 single-ended, as well as 2.5 balance. The build is also fairly standard for Theo Audio products in its time. You're gonna have a hollow resin build, full resin, and all of you know my opinions on that. I don't think it's the most durable, but to each their own. And when it comes to the tuning, yes, it's basically the Monarch MK3, but basically with slightly better treble extension, if you want to call it that. The extra ESTs does allow it to get a little bit extra SPL on 10K plus, but if you're someone who also doesn't like that kind of extra energy, well, consider the other one instead. Or maybe if you're just someone who likes to driver meme and don't like the fact that the Monarch MK3 only comes with just 2 EST drivers, then yes, consider the Prestige. As the title implies, the Prestige is effectively the other Monarch MK3. If you're looking for something slightly different, but not quite that different, for a little bit of a higher price, but also with more EST drivers, then the Prestige kind of fills that niche for you. I'm not saying that it's a very common niche, there's a reason why it's called a niche, but yeah, I would just say that the Prestige and the Monarch MK3 sound so similar that you could blindfold me and I would think that it's just the same IEM, just slightly EQ'd away from each other. Maybe one of the bigger differences in tuning is that the Prestige is just slightly less bassy and more lean compared to the Monarch MK3, but that's really just splitting hairs, really. So as the guy who has to approve everything in the Hangout.audio catalog, if we approve of the Monarch MK3, then we kind of have to approve of the Prestige. A little bit of nepotism here, maybe. So now let's talk about the shoulds and the shouldn'ts, why you should consider buying a Prestige and why you shouldn't. Well, the first one is if you're looking for an IEM that has specifically 4 electrostatic tweeters. It's a bit of a weird ask, but yeah, if you look at the Monarch MK3 and think that 2 is too little for you, then the Prestige is kind of up your alley. Second, if you're looking for that Monarch MK3 sound signature, but want a little bit of that airy 10K plus, then yes, the Prestige is gonna be one IEM that does that for you. And as for why you shouldn't consider buying a Prestige, well, the most obvious one is that it's kind of basically the Monarch MK3 with less ESTs. So if you're someone who wants to save a few $100 for effectively the same sound signature, then yeah, you can just consider the Monarch MK3, which is also a product that we carry on Hangout.audio. Other than that, it's all the usual old school Theo Audio complaints, the hollow resin shell, the lack of fancy accessories, especially at its price bracket, you know, the usual. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it. You can always try it out for yourself at The Hangout. We're located at 200 South Bridge Road in Chinatown. Come on down, grab a cup of coffee or even an ice cream, and then ask for the Theo Audio Prestige. Try it out for yourself and then form your own opinions. And for those of you who are not within Singapore, well, can always come on down to Hangout.audio, our online retail store. We ship globally and for free for orders over $30 US. This is Critical for the Hangout.audio channel, and remember kids, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. See you next week.